Welcome to Positive Talk Radio. We're glad you're here. I'm Kevin McDonald, your host for this grand adventure, and I thank you for joining us. You see, our mission is to create a positive, personal connection to all things with courage and love. We invite terrific guests, interesting topics, and great conversation, all in a fun, entertaining way. And we always manage to learn something, too. So I hope you will stay right where you are for this episode of Positive Talk Radio. And welcome everybody to Positive Talk Radio. And I'm really excited again because Sasha is with us, Sasha Morozov, and she is an amazing woman, an amazing mother and wife and all of that. And she is just really dynamic. She's a lot of fun to talk to. And so we're going to talk to her for I don't know, as long as it takes. We get to talk to her about her work and what she is doing and how if you happen to be of the fairer gender, then you need to pay attention to the show because we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about women. We're going to talk about all the things that you guys try and do to keep everything together and how it all works. Sasha, welcome to the show. How are you today? I know it's 90 where you are.
It is a heat wave in Los Angeles, and I love the sun, so I am having a great day. Thanks so much for having me on, Kevin. It's so fun to always hang out with you.
We haven't known each other very long, but I really like hanging out with you. You are just dynamic. And we had a great time on KKNW, and you can go to Positive Talk Radio and listen to that interview. You can also listen to this one. Will be a video. It's live right now on YouTube, and so you can go there and watch the goings on. And we are really interested in talking about the things that you have made kind of your life work. How did you decide that this was going to be working with women and helping women deal with all the pressures of life and everything that they do? How did you do that? What made you decide to do that?
Well, listen, it's definitely something I've always been thinking about. And as someone that I love helping others, I mean, I have a master's in social work. I've been in the nonprofit field for almost 15 years. I thought it was my life's mission to give to others. And then after a few years of being a working mom myself and looking around, I realized, wait a minute, why is it that we're doing all of this, but we're still beating ourselves up over it? Why is it that we're coming home and we're just falling asleep after the kids go to bed and not doing anything for ourselves? So that is when I really realized, you know what? Somebody's going to do it. If somebody's going to tell others, it better be me.
Well, it might as well be you, because I can't think of a better spokeswoman than you are for the women that are out there. I don't know where we all got it from, but there's this perception out there that women who are, it used to be that you'd be a homemaker. In when I was a kid, I didn't know any women who worked very much. Any moms anyway. All my friends' moms were stay-at-home moms and stuff, and those have changed, but the roles haven't changed that much, in that you guys have just added more to your plate rather than a true division of responsibilities within the household. It's, at least it seems to me, in a lot of cases. Am I wrong?
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I think, especially today, we have about, research says 72% of moms, they're either working full time and or part time. So we have a vast majority of moms in the workforce. Let's recognize that, as well as moms are still the main caretaker, no matter which way you look at it. And I do think some of it is personal in the sense that we feel it's our responsibility. And some of it is also because of society and the way that we've always been painted in order to make sure everything does happen. So I think there's so much a mix of nature and nurture and everything like that. But I am here to make sure that any working mom feels good about herself, feels good about her life, and knows that it can also be, it can look the way that she really wants it to.
Absolutely. And that's a challenge. That's a challenge right there. By the way, I if you are interested in following along, you can go to Sasha's website, which is sashaxhome.com. So that's SASHAX home.com. She's got a myriad of things on there, and you can be able to work with her, which would be awesome. Because on the very front page, I was struck by you say, I know you want it all. You want success at home or at work, the perfect house, and of course, the perfect family. That's liable to happen.
Who
Then,
doesn't?
yeah, I know.
Who
Well,
doesn't?
we all want the perfect life and to have the lawn mowed and to have the garbage taken out and the garage. When you open the garage door, it looks good in there and all of that. And there's a lot of pressure and self-applied pressure, I think, that women feel like instead of trading, because now they're making an income. And in this day and age, with housing, I know you're in LA. Housing values up here are crazy. They're the average house in Seattle is $500,000. I don't know how a single income person can do that. So women have to work in order to make ends meet, and but they've taken that on in addition to keeping everything else. It's it's got to be really hard. Have you noticed that in the women that you've talked to that a lot of them are getting tired and depressed and feeling like they don't have any way out of the situation?
Yes, yes. And just to go back to your having it all, one of the things I love to say is that you can have it all. It just might not look exactly the way you thought it would. It might not look with that garage being perfectly organized, but that doesn't mean that you don't have it all. Because when you find what your priorities are, you may find that having a perfect garage is just not on there. And that doesn't mean it's not something you don't care about. It just means it's not above that threshold of where you're saying, I'm willing to sacrifice my time, my weekend to get something done. So I really want for anyone that's listening, if you're a woman, yes, you can have it all. It just might not look the way that you expect it to. And that's why when we try to have that perfect picture, that's when we're filled with the overwhelm. That's when we're filled with the thoughts of guilt, because now you're working, you're not spending enough time with the kids. When you're at home, oh, wait, stuff from work needs to be done. When it's the weekend, oh, wait, the chores need to be completed. I need to take that garbage out. And there's so many moving parts. Okay. So let's give ourselves a little bit of a break, because I am sure that anyone out there, any working mom, is already too much.
It's really hard. Especially when you throw in the kids and you've got, I don't know who developed the schedule for soccer games and soccer practices and stuff, but I mean they want to dominate your life. The schools want to dominate your life with homework and stuff like that. So when you throw in the kids and then the house and then all of that and then the job, it gets really hard, doesn't it?
Of course. I love that you brought up the soccer schedule, because that's definitely something I'm feeling with my older one playing sports. And I will tell you, it's just not a priority for me. But guess what? It's a priority for my partner. So guess what? He can be the one that makes sure that he gets to basketball practice, to soccer practice, and if he has competitions out of the area, that's great. He enjoys it. I mean, I want to support my children, But that doesn't mean I need to change my life in order to make that happen, because it's not a top priority for me. But as women, we feel, oh my gosh, I have to be at the soccer game. I have to make sure that I'm signed up to bring the snacks to the soccer game because we're a nice family. That's what nice families do. And I
Yep.
say, listen, that's great if you want to. If you want to be that mom, amazing. Let's make sure something else gets taken off your plate that you don't care about so we can make that happen instead of just adding that to your plate when it's already full.
Now let's talk about two different aspects of this. One is if you are together with a mate and you are a intact family, even if it's a blended family or you've got kids from different marriages and that kind of thing, is it becoming a negotiation between two consenting adults to sit down and talk about the division of what we're all going to do so that we can all make it work and everybody doesn't get overburdened?
I think what we normally see is much more of the reactive, much more of the why didn't you take the garbage out? It's garbage day today. I thought that this is something that you agreed to because they agreed to it in some random, like, pass by conversation that they totally forgot about. And it goes in both ways, especially now with people working. What happens when someone has a late meeting and they don't communicate that ahead of time? Then it's like, oh, I thought you were going to pick up the kids. I thought you were going to pick up the kids. We are so much in a reactive when it comes to our families. And that's where I come in and challenge that and say, hey, especially if you're a working mother, you wouldn't tolerate at work. You wouldn't just expect a colleague or a direct report to just have something done because you once said something. You'd follow up. You'd make a plan. You evaluate how it's going. So why do we not do that at home with our families? Why do we not have proactive conversations where we sit down and figure it out and then follow up? We might have those conversations, but we don't do the follow up. We just expect that it'll magically get done, even though it's never gotten done before. But just because we had one talk one time, our expectations are sky high.
Well, it's interesting. Before the show, we were talking a little bit, and I brought up the Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman, and that is can be a really handy guide when you are working because just a quick synopsis in that book, he talks about how people accept love and they accept love differently. Some people some women would love you to come home with flowers. So other women don't give a shit about flowers. They want you to come home and take the garbage out or to clean the cat box or do stuff like that. And so those are the negotiations that as a family unit we have to have, aren't they?
Yes, I love Kevin. I love that you bring that up because that's the thing is that we want things. I'm saying for me, okay? So no hate mail, please. But we as women want things done a certain way. And most of the time, it's our way. Most of the time, it's the way we want it done. And guess what? Our partners are not robots. So we can't program them to just do it our way. They're going to do it their way. And when they do it their way, it might look different. It might not. Maybe you've banged them down hard enough where it doesn't look any different. But you're going to be much more successful if you create the space and opportunity for them to feel successful in whatever they're doing because they're doing it their way.
And it's a great thing if you don't have to nag somebody. Because that's I think what we hate as guys. We hate more than anything. It's like we're watching the football game, right? And then my wife would come in and say, are you going to take the garbage out? Yeah, right after the game or at halftime. Then 10 minutes later, it's the middle of the second quarter. You're going to take the garbage out? It's like I said, after the game or at halftime. And so and but that wasn't good enough because it wasn't right now. I want it done now. And the little horns came on top of her head, and she turned into a less than cordial individual, I must say.
Well, the trust, yeah. The trust wasn't built there and the expectations weren't met. And that you guys had different viewpoints of where you were going in and thinking about it from different angles. You were probably thinking that, hey, I love football. This is my once a week opportunity. I know not that much about football apparently, but I know once a week opportunity to just watch a game. Maybe it's your favorite team, and that is something so sacred to you. However, for her, you're just watching TV, just like you would on a Monday night or Tuesday or whatever. So for her, it might have been that, wait a minute, like, why is this any different than anything else?
Exactly. Well, and you are exactly right, because at that time I was working 6 days a week. I was working 10 to 12 hours a day, and I had picked the time between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. on Sunday was going to be my time to do exactly what I wanted to do, and that was to watch football and to watch my football team, not everybody's team, just my team. And so, because of that, and she felt like, just like you're saying, she felt like, "Ah, it's just watching TV, and it's only a football game." How dare you say that? You know, so so how do you coach couples? And I know that you do a lot of coaching. How do you coach couples to come together to put together a great battle plan that everybody can sign off on, that everybody feels good about, and that doesn't tax any one individual too much?
I honestly always say start small, okay? Because if your expectation is that they're gonna change overnight, well, guess what? That's not realistic, okay? So just like if you had someone new start at work, right? Day one, you don't give them everything. You build up to it. You see that they can handle it, and then you move more and more and more. One of my favorite tips that I always give out to couples is the fact that, one of the things I see is the division of labor in terms of chores at home. So, one of my biggest tips I give, especially as you're starting down this journey, is for the woman to think about what is something that's not going to trigger you, so that you're not giving them some high expectation, high risk, high demand chore right away, but you're giving them something that if they do it their way on their own time, you're going to be okay with it. That way, they feel like they're already succeeding, and then you can work your way up to more, more, and more. Because if garbage has always been a trigger for the both of you, it's not going to all of a sudden be any different. You've lived with this partner for a while now, I'm assuming. You know the way that they're used to working. So if other ways didn't work, that's okay. Let's start somewhere, but let's start somewhere you both can actually agree on, instead of saying, okay, how do we just hash this out? How do we just, like, how do I get him to just do the garbage? Say, well, how can you get him to think about what he wants to do around the house, be okay with it, have him do that, and then, okay, what else can we build on from there?
Yeah, one of the things that there are lots of women, and you may be one of them, that will not let their husbands do the laundry because they don't want everything to be pink at the just for you to put something red in with the whites, and we don't know, we just kind of, well, we'll just throw it in here, and so you end up having a bunch of pink blouses rather than the white ones that you have. So you a lot of women will pick that one, and that's a pretty major one to do the laundry for the entire family. And so, doesn't the husband need to pick a like amount of difficulty in and how much time it takes so that you can balance it out?
No, I don't think so. Honestly, I think as long as the partner is picking something A for themselves, so a lot of times it is the husband. So the husband gets to actually pick something for themselves and be able to succeed in it. That to me is a win. That's a
Uh,
win.
Good point.
And then from there, you can think about, hey, you do a really great job at that. How about we try this? That person's way more likely to try the laundry or try something a little bit more versus, oh, you didn't do that again. Okay, so now can you try the laundry since you didn't take out the garbage? So can you, like, make sure you do the laundry? Like, we're not setting people up for success. These are our partners. These are people we have chosen to be in our lives and hopefully be in our lives for the rest of our lives. So, why are we not setting the table to make sure that they're successful? Not why are we not coming to the table and seeing what works best for them as well? It's a partnership. No matter any way you look at it, you slice it, it's a partnership.
And that is true. And that, quite frankly, in my mind, is the easier row to hoe, if you will, because speak to what a single mom who is doing this by herself. She's got a couple of kids, and husband is gone. Maybe he's providing some financial support,
Mhm.
but the day to day stuff is all on her, and she's still trying to do it all. What would you encourage her to do or not do?
Yeah, I love that you added the not to because that's exactly where I would start. Because what I see is that especially for mothers who are raising children on their own, that they have this guilt. They have this guilt of saying, "Well, I'm the only parent, and since I'm the only parent, then I'm going to make sure that they get basically double." And I'm saying, wait a minute, you're not two people. You can only provide enough for one as one person. So stop trying to do double because that's what I see. And when you stop trying to do double, you really, really take a look and again, for people that are raising kids on their own, it is going to be a little bit harder to cut things out because maybe somebody that's in a partnership may not have to cut as much out right away. Maybe they'll get there eventually. But somebody that's raising on their own, if you're serious about changing, I love that. And I'm also going to say, let's start. Let's start with cutting something out, whether it's an activity or how can we make sure your community, your circle of trust is a little bit bigger. So that way, instead of cutting out an activity because now you're just rushing around all day, every day, maybe there's somebody else in their life that can take them to that activity. Maybe they have a friend on that soccer team. And maybe instead of you going to soccer tournaments every single weekend, they can buddy up with that friend and they go with their family for the weekend to a soccer tournament. They will be okay if you will not be there for one weekend. But guess what? Then you have A, more time to spend with another kid if you have multiple children, or B, you have time for yourself. You don't have to do everything and be everywhere. You don't. Your kids want a happy mother or father or grandparent or whoever. They want a happy person in their life versus stressed out. Let's make sure to get them to the next activity. Let's make sure that we have this perfect dinner and all of that. All of that. We don't need it. They're not going to remember it.
And but you know what they will remember? I'm glad you brought that up because what they will remember is if you consider it a obligation to take them to the soccer game and you're angry about it and you show that to them because you're just mad about the circumstances and so you end up taking it out on them, they'll remember that long but longer than they will remember whether or not they had mac and cheese or fried chicken for dinner.
Absolutely. And that's how a way I really encourage people to frame when they're looking at, okay, what are my priorities? Is what do you want your kids to remember you by? Your kids, they're going to end up in therapy one way or another. What do you want them to complain to that therapist about? Do you want them to complain that my mom was always happy? Do you want them to complain that my mom took time for herself? And as a result, she was peppy in the morning and told me I love you, all that. Or are they going to complain? My mom just never could let anything slide. My mom never let us choose to do our own thing because she always had things planned because she thought that we needed to be in every activity. Let your kid go to that summer camp, sleep away, okay? Let your kid be them. And every kid is different. And what your kid may be interested in may not line up with what you are interested in either. And that's okay.
You know what's interesting that you say that is that today's parents, I know I sound like an old grandfather. Today's parents are just different because they don't allow the kids. I remember when I was playing Little League Baseball, this goes back into the 60s. We would go, I would take my mitt and I would go like 5 blocks to a busier street. The coach would pick us up in a convertible. And an old convertible jalopy. We would sit on the back of the jalopy with our, sitting on the windowsill kind of thing, and nobody had seat belts, nobody died, and we were all just fine. So we give your kids a little bit more freedom. Is that what you're advocating a little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What I see is that, there really isn't that freedom unless you live in like a gated community or, whatever it is. Kids don't just run around on the street. For sure. We don't even see that many kids at the park anymore because everyone's like making play dates 2 months in advance and all of this stuff. And I'm saying, especially if you're a single parent, give your children more opportunities to be with others. It helps everybody.
You know what's interesting about that too is that um, now that you mention it, when you drive through a neighborhood, I don't see any kids on bicycles anymore.
No.
They're
Some kids
all
don't even know how
inside.
to bike ride
Yeah,
because it's not
they're all in
safe.
they're all inside with their little device and stuff. So, and that I don't think that that's good for the kids. I really don't. I think they need to get out and get exposed to more things.
I absolutely agree with you. And at the same time, guess what? This is how all the other kids are communicating. So if you're just taking away, if you're also a parent that's just taking away devices altogether as well, they are missing out on those social interactions. So I just think there's always a healthy balance to everything because if we are trying to let our kids be them, most of their peers are on video games. Doesn't mean they need to sit for hours by themselves playing video games. But what's wrong with them making a play date with their friend and talking while they're both playing video games? I used to, when I was young, I'd go to somebody's house when there was Nintendo and we'd sit next to each other and we'd play Mario Kart or whatever. I don't know if Mario Kart was around, but then Super Mario,
Mario was, yeah,
Donkey
yeah.
Kong. That was my favorite, Donkey Kong. But anyway, this is just a newer way of looking at it. So I think it's just healthy balance. That's all.
Okay, so let's get the brass tacks here. If somebody wants to work with you, if they like your message, if they believe that you can help them regain some, I need to say this. Everybody needs somebody who is outside of themselves to reflect back to you what you think you are projecting to others and are putting out there, because oftentimes what we think that we're projecting is not correct, it's not accurate. And so it really is important to have somebody reflect back to you what's going on, why things are happening. So if you need somebody to reflect back to you, Sasha would be a great resource for you. How does somebody work with you?
Absolutely. If you are a working mom, head on over to sashaxhome.com and you can download the 5 steps to coming home happy after work so you could feel a little bit lighter and little bit brighter. You could book a session right on the website as well. And honestly, what I always say is that we as women, we don't put ourselves first. Your life is not going to look any different a year from now than it did last year unless you do something about it. So put yourself first. Work with someone. You will get to that finish line, to the next step so much quicker. So much quicker and so much easier with an individualized plan.
And you can put an individualized plan together for somebody, right?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I do. I have my 4 step signature method. I walk women through a 12-week coaching session and we have success.
Oh, that's awesome. Because, I'm looking at your bio here, and I don't know when you started college, but you must have been like, what, 12?
Nope, nope. I just, I I I age well. I age well.
Well, that's really good because you have a master's degree
Mhm.
in what's your
Social work.
master's degree in?
Social work. Whoop
Oh,
whoop.
yes, that's
Social
right. You mentioned that
workers.
at the top of the show. Had I been listening, that would have been good to know.
Oh, good. Oh,
and and you left social work because you wanted to strike out on your own. Is that or are you still involved?
So I have transitioned from the nonprofit field. It got to a point of where I was fortunate enough. I love the nonprofit field and I love social workers. And when you climb the corporate ladder, what happens? You get to supervise people, but you're not getting the direct one on one client and everything. And as much as I love running an agency and overseeing budgets and all of that fun stuff, I really miss the one on one part. I really did. And I know that this is something I'm good at. I know I'm an expert at this. I know I can help women. And that's honestly all I want. I want to build a new generation, a new community of working moms who are taking their lives to the next level.
Well, and it makes sense because if you are so divided and you are so stressed out, it's hard for you to do a good job at home. It's hard for you to do a good job at work, and it can retard your growth in both, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't we all deserve it? Isn't it time that we really are able to enjoy life more, to just have more fun? That's what I want. I want to plant that seed. I want to see it grow. I want to have women go through the process because at the end of it, they're so surprised at how far they've gotten.
And it is so true. We take this life like it is so damn serious that but that's not really, I don't believe that's why we're here. I think we're here to have a good time, have a good relationships with people, and to really enjoy that. I was talking with somebody yesterday, and he was saying, well, you get depressed and then you don't look at the sunset the same way, or you don't sit and you don't relax and you don't get to take in things that are happening around you because you're depressed and you're stressed and all that, and it closes your heart down. And it's so true. If you can open your heart up and allow somebody to work with you who is gifted at what they do, that would be you, and can help them understand that it's okay, that and you validate the fact that they're working hard, but it's okay. They don't have to be the perfect person, because, by the way, there is no such thing.
Oh my gosh, no way. I am very much far from perfect, especially if you ask my kids. So, honestly, what I can tell you though is that I really do like myself. That I can honestly say, and I'm trying to build the life the way I want it to look like. Everything else, I don't really care. I'm doing it. I'm doing it my way.
And where did you come up? Where did you feel like you could do that? Because a lot of a lot of women that you work with don't feel like they have the ability to do that. They're kind of stuck. How do you get them unstuck?
We really focus on priorities. We really look at what did it look like for you growing up? Because I find a lot of times we really recreate some of the things that have happened in our childhood, some of the relationships that we're in, and we start to see the pattern. And then one of the things I always say is that once you know, you can't go back. Once you know better, once you realize something about yourself, once you actually see that, oh, I said it out loud. I said this dream of this, whatever that dream or whatever that next step looks like, once you say it out loud, you kind of feel, oh, maybe I can do it. And once you take one little step towards it, oh, wait, that wasn't that bad. You keep going. And that's the thing is that sometimes you need somebody to hold you accountable as well. That's why I think coaching is so important. When you have somebody who not just has your back, who can guide you, who can hold you accountable, who knows how to get you to that next step, my goodness, that's invaluable to me.
Well, and if you want to live a positive life and really have a positive impact in your community and the world around you, you cannot do it from a place of stress and overburdened and burnout. Because burnout's pretty prevalent, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. Who isn't burned out? Basically, who isn't burned out these days? My goodness. And one of the things is that, look, I'm not happy about every single little thing, maybe in my life, every single moment of the day. But guess what? I take that emotion as well and I honor it. And then I move on. I think that's part of the thing is we get stuck. We get stuck in the mediocre. We get stuck in our regular routine And we sometimes go to bed thinking maybe it could be different, but we don't do something about it. And that's what I say is once you know, once you start taking those small steps, you can't go back. It just, you're not able to go back because you see the progress.
Well, and we talked about this the other day, and I think it bears repeating. Here is that if you are a married couple and you got a couple of kids, and he's working, to slay the dragons and to bring home the bacon, and he's working 50 hours a week, and you're working, maybe you're only working 35, 40 hours a week, but if you couple that with what you're doing at home, it's now a 60, 70 hour. And then you're right, when the kids go down to bed and you fall into the chair and you're exhausted, and that guy that has been waiting for you to come home and to feel fresh and happy as a bunny says, "Hey, baby, come here," and it's like, "Oh crap." And then you don't want to, and so that can negatively affect your marriage too. It can have devastating effects on a marriage as well as your relationship with your kids. So you really should be, you would be best served by being happy and well adjusted and not taking on too much. I think that's right. Yeah.
Absolutely. As well as here's the thing is we women usually put ourselves last. And guess
Exactly.
what though? Everyone around you would much rather you take the time to focus on yourself, to do something for yourself than anything else. No partner wants anything more for their own partner other than for them to feel fulfilled, for them to wake up and want to be on this planet and to do things on this planet that are for the better. I truly believe it's our responsibility. We've been given so much that it's our responsibility to not just bring joy and happiness into the world, but to contribute and to help others as well.
Well, I applaud your work, and I wish you a lot of success, because I think there's a lot of dysfunctionality in our family system and how it works. And if you can help a little bit with that, make it a little bit less dysfunctional, it will change generationally. It'll change lives.
Yes, yes. Come on. We're worth it. We're worth it. Take the small step, whether it's calling me or somebody else, but just talk to somebody. Just have a conversation. That's honestly the first step. Have the conversation. Everything else will fall in place.
It will indeed, but I would recommend, now you work with people via Zoom, and you work with
Yes.
people all over the country, right?
I do because one of the other things I prioritize for myself is travel. So I'm in a position of where I'm setting my life up because this is something that I want to do to make sure that my livelihood and business is able to be flexible no matter where I am as well.
See, now that's pretty cool, because you can, and in the land of COVID, the way we are now, one of the positive things that's come out of it is I was talking to a gentleman. He's a magician, and he was saying that the land of COVID, he can now do his act via Zoom and do three different in one day, rather than fly someplace, stay in the hotel, hang around all day, then do the performance, and then get on an airplane to go someplace. So we can actually get a lot more done with a lot less stress if you work it right. And that I think is real positive. So, and you can help somebody. You can be on your phone talking to somebody while you are on the beach in Hawaii.
That's the goal. That's the goal. And you know what? Guess what? That shows that other person as well, like, oh, wow, maybe life can be a little bit different. Maybe, wow, she's able to do it. Maybe I can do X, Y, or Z. Because I think at the same time, when we see others, we should be celebrating. And there's so much like hate and gossip and all of this that goes on in anybody's world that I think, if we just really help each other out, if we just kind of tell everybody that, like, hey, I believe in you. We're like, okay, this is what you actually said you wanted to do. Cool, you're doing it. Good for you, you know?
And I think that's awesome. And if you're a single mom out there, please reach out to Sasha because she can kind of help you prioritize what, because you may think that everything has equal weight, and it really doesn't. There's some things that are more important than others, and the most important thing is for you, because I've seen it all the time where somebody is tired, they don't get enough rest. They don't eat well. They're stressed. They've got all this stuff going on. And then the kids set them off because, well, they're kids. And that's what they do. And then that creates a negative environment for everybody. And it is totally needless if we work our schedules right and our lives right. And you can help with that.
Absolutely. And that's why I love working one on one, because when you're working one on one, you can really tailor it to what the person's looking for, which is one of the reasons I feel like people kind of beat themselves up because they read a book or they watch a video and they're like, okay, cool, I'm going to do it this way and it's going to be so much better. And it's not, because it's general, because it doesn't hit on exactly what is the focus or the pain point for that person. So working one on one really has so many advantages.
Now, do you find in your work that a lot of women look at other women that are doing the same things that they're doing and saying, she's doing it and it's so easy for her. Why is it so hard for me? I think that she,
Oh, wow, that you totally hit it. I can't tell you how many times I hear almost anyone, and it's not even the women I work with, it's anybody that it has in my sphere anyway. It's always like, how, but she's doing this or she's doing that. And I'm like, great. What will it take for you to do that? Because what is she giving up in order to achieve that as well? Because guess what? We're all giving something up because we all have the same amount of time in a day.
there is nobody who gets 26 hours in the day. I'm sorry that just doesn't work. And it's, so everybody, and I think that when you look at somebody and go, gosh, she looks so put together. How does she do it? And I can't get it done. I think that there's something in her background or someplace that is not getting done the way that even she would like to do it.
Of course. Of course. But then that's where I challenge women and say, hey, is that really a priority for you? Is it really a priority for you to be in full makeup and hair every day? Maybe it is. Great. How can we make sure you have more time to take care of that? But maybe you say, you know what? I like my sweats. You know what? I don't care about walking around Rodeo and going to Saks or Neiman, wherever, and say, okay, then you start to understand, okay, well, yeah, good for her, whatever. She can dress however, or she can, have a glam squad on call, and that's just her. But when you
Have a what?
actually have that conversation with yourself, instead of just being like, oh, look at her again, she always looks blah, blah, blah. When you actually have that conversation, you start to put the pieces together of why you're thinking that way.
Well, I was just thinking that the expectations that we put on women are just, not only are you expected to have it all together, be a good cook, be a good mom, be able to get to all the places, and you have to put on makeup and look your best all the time, and you go to work, and the expectations, it's daunting when you think about it, all the things you guys have to do.
It is. But guess what? At the same time, if you're honoring yourself and you really don't care about it, then nothing's going to stop you in your way. I can tell you personally, okay, you might laugh, but personally in college, I never wore like makeup, did my hair. I was the girl in sweats all the time. And I remember one time, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna glam it up. It was like the end of the college years and all that. People were like, oh my God, I had no idea you can dress up this way. I was like, I don't care if you have any idea. I'm still me. There's zero difference in my book. But again, it's just where you're at. It's just what you care about. It really is. And that's all. So society can have whatever expectation, but if that's not what I prioritize, okay, moving on. Next.
It's one of my favorite sayings is, it's none of my business what you think of me.
But again, that's so much it's so much easier said than done, obviously.
Uh-huh.
That's why the work. That's why you got to do the work. And the work really is to keep digging, to keep thinking and asking yourself why. Why are you getting jealous over this one thing? Why does that person bug you so much? And not just because, oh, well, they have a perfect life and I don't. No, that's not good enough for me. I want to dig much deeper. What is it about that perfect life? Or what do you think that perfect life is in the first place? When you really start to go deep and you start to see the patterns that you are saying to yourself as well. And once you see the patterns, it's so much easier to figure out what you need to do to change those patterns versus just still going through the road of being like, I hate that person or that, she's so annoying because blah, 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 blah.
And I'm sure that you can verify that in your work, there ain't no such thing as a perfect person. And there is we have lots of issues going on, and we're all dysfunctional in one manner or form. And so if you think that somebody else is leading a perfect life, I've heard this often. It's like, they're getting a divorce, but I thought their marriage was perfect. Apparently they were hiding it well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I don't want people to wait till it gets that bad. I don't want
Exactly.
people to wait. People wait that until they're getting a divorce to go to a relationship counselor, right? Why? Why do we have to wait until things get that bad? Why are we not working on it all along the way?
There's a stigma around, oh gosh, they must be in trouble, they're going to see a marriage counselor, which actually, in fact, they're smart because they can figure it out, and they can understand how to communicate, and they can do a lot of things differently and a lot of things well, rather than wait and let it just sit there and fester.
We
And
all need help. We all need help along the way. We all need help along the way. That doesn't mean that help lasts forever. And that doesn't mean that we just ignore it either. You gotta find your own happy medium of what that looks like. Maybe you're not ready for a coach. Maybe you'll just research what are the benefits of working with a coach. Maybe you're not ready for a divorce and you're not ready to, be happy with your partner as well. Maybe you just do one thing that will make the other person happy today. That's all. It's just wherever you're at, it's okay. What I'm saying is, I just want to make sure you don't stay there forever. And the quickest way to get to somewhere else is by working, how you said as well, with an outside person who can see it differently.
I will tell you, I have a good friend of mine. He's a financial planner. He works with customers that have only, if you have less than $1 million in your portfolio, he won't work with you. That's how high powered this guy is. You know what? He has a financial coach. He makes $250,000 a year, and he has somebody who is guiding him on being a financial advisor because he's a smart guy. He understands that he can't see it all. So he needs somebody who's smart to see it for him and to help him. So
Yes,
he does it.
because he wants to live, he wants to get to a higher level of success. And the fastest way to get to a higher level of success is by getting outside, not even help, but guidance. Somebody from the outside to just take a look. So that way they can point things out. Of course he's smart. I bet you he's not just going to be making a quarter million. I bet you he's going to be making way more in a few years because he's pushing himself, because he's not satisfied with the status quo.
Exactly. By the way, we've been talking with Sasha, and you can go to her website, which is sashahome.com. That's SASHAX home.com. She's got all kinds of, you've got a very pretty pictures in here, and you've got how to work with you, and you're also giving back to the community, which I love, and doing all of those things. You're an awesome young lady. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, it's just about what you prioritize. I mean, I didn't spend 15 years in the nonprofit field to not continue my giving. And that is something I really treasure. And my giving looks a little bit different than other organizations because guess what? Anyone I work with, the percentage, you get to choose. You get to choose where it goes, because it's not about what I want. It's not about what I want to support. I want to help you find your own gift in giving, because I want you to keep giving. You're much more likely to help others when you take that small step, even if that's not something you were expecting.
You are just awesome. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh my gosh, this has been a pleasure, Kevin. I had so much fun. Thank you so much.
You always have fun. Now this is the part of the show where I'm going to step aside, and I want you to take a moment and tell the audience that's listening now or going to listen in the future anything that you would like them to know.
Okay, so let me tell you, I want you to pick 3 things that you enjoy. Just think of 3 things that you like. And I want you, out of those 3, to just pick one and commit to doing it within the next week. That's it. That's all I want, because I just want you to take some sort of step. It doesn't matter if you never call me, but it matters if you do something for yourself. So just do that one thing for yourself. If you found this helpful, definitely check me out. I welcome anybody into the community, and I would love to hear from you as well.
I couldn't have said that better myself, which is why I had you say it. So I'm glad. You are just awesome, and I want to thank you for being on Positive Talk Radio today. You're going to help a lot of people in your life. You already
Thank
have.
you. And so are you. You're having great conversations with people. You're putting so many people's information out there as well, and elevating their message. So thank you.
Well, gee, you're welcome. I'm learning how to say, when somebody gives you a compliment, instead of deflecting, you have to learn how to say, well, thank you. That's awfully nice of you. But that is what this show is all about. That's what I'm all about, is to bring positive people like you to people who may not in their life have somebody that is of your caliber, that can do what you can do for them. And that's really important for me. So if you've enjoyed listening to this, subscribe and like and do all that kind of crap. But more important, act on the information that you've got today and call Sasha. I think that you would be very wise. So SashaXHome.com. So Sasha, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And if you stay right there, I'll be right back. Thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of kmmedia.pro. Please visit our website, oddly enough, named kmmedia.pro, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to each other, because each other's all we've got. We'll see you next time.